Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Now, who said we weren't convincing anyone? They claimed that our activism on the Bud Light issue was simply operating within a bubble, within an echo chamber, and that we weren't changing minds. Eventually, the noise would dissipate, and the world would simply move on from this Republican conspiracy theory. That's what they claimed, or at least that was part of their copium argument. Well, it wasn't simply noise in an echo chamber. Like I've been reporting, like we've been seeing, it's been a damn shockwave, and it's producing real results, folks. The argument that we're not changing minds ends right here because we're literally changing minds. In fact, it seems as though Joe Rogan is on the boycott bandwagon. It's funny because when the boycott started, Joe Rogan came out in defense of Bud Light, or at least kind of not taking the whole thing seriously. I'm sure you guys remember this clip that had leftoids cheering.
The thing is like about this Dylan Mulvaney thing. It's like, why, if something is good, do you give a who's got it? Like, would we do this with cheesecake? I get what they're doing, though. They're trying to get people that are popular. They're just looking for influencers to help them.
And they're trying to look more inclusive because of the assumptions people make about Bud Light drinkers.
You saw the Bud Light demographics of who's drinking Bud Light.
It's bigots.
It's funny what people get like super outraged about. You know, like we're in the middle of the Restrict Act. You know, like no one's freaking out about that, but they're freaking out about Bud Light. Like how is that the big deal?
Initially, Joe Rogan thought the whole thing was stupid, but like most of these cases, once people actually start to delve into the details, as we expose the actual information, the deeper narrative, I guess we could call it, well, that's when people start to take the red pill. That's what's happening with Joe Rogan. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so you saw the initial Joe Rogan clip. Now take a look at this one.
Target lost billions of dollars because they tried to have this pride selection.
Oh yeah, gay mannequins.
Yeah, they had all these like pride children's shirts and
gay children. Yeah,
and then obviously the Bud Light thing with Dylan Mulvaney. They've lost $20+ billion. You imagine you're just gonna send a fucking can to some confused person that day 365 of womanhood, and you send that person a fucking can with their face on, and your company loses $20 billion. That is wild shit, man. So we're seeing that now where we never saw that before, where people are going, enough.
Right.
Enough. Stop shoving this down everybody's throat. When I go to Target, I don't want to see like tuck pants where like they're designed to help you tuck your dick. Like, hey, that's not normal. And I don't want that right in front of everybody.
Joe Rogan went from he doesn't care and the whole thing's unserious to stop shoving this crap down our throats. And that is the exact terminology that we have been using because that's exactly what it is. It's an onslaught. It's non-stop. It's hardcore propaganda, and obviously people are just getting sick and tired of it. You know, the left likes to craft this narrative that it's just bigoted people who hate particular groups. It's just a big hate campaign, but really, it's a leave me alone campaign, and more importantly, leave my children alone. You know, it'd be nice to start the summer without woke propaganda plastered everywhere, shoved in my face every time I open the TV, every time I walk outside, every time I open a website, anytime I do anything. Non-stop aggressive propaganda campaign. But that alone, I mean, we've been able to endure. It's gone too far this time because the aspect of shoving this adult topic propaganda in your face has turned into shoving the propaganda into your children's face. And at that point, it's pretty much game over. Look, when the left starts losing leftist allies, it's game over. I know leftist activists and leftist journalists love to claim that Joe Rogan's a conservative, but Joe Rogan is a leftist. I mean, he's a literal quasi-socialist. He's closer to Bernie Sanders than Donald Trump. That's a fact, and he's stated it multiple times. When the left is losing Joe Rogan, you know that they've gone completely insane. When the left is losing Bill Maher, they've gone insane. When the left is losing Anna Kasparian, well, then they've gone really insane. It is game over for the woke propagandists. I don't know what company is going to take a Bud Light-sized risk ever again. It has been a complete and utter disaster. Let's shift gears a little bit here. I'm sure you enjoyed the Joe Rogan clips, but let's continue to do an update on where the boycott stands stands, at least for Bud Light and later for Target. I've been saying it for the last month or so. I'm not exactly sure the structure of Bud Light's fiscal year, when it starts and when it ends. What I do know is that their first earnings report, released on May 13th, if I'm not mistaken, May 13 or 14, something like that. That was the first quarter report, which didn't really show any of the losses, and I've been saying, hey, the second quarter report, it's a publicly traded company. Their financial statements are going to show us everything that transpired after April 1st, or actually even late March. There was a March Madness campaign. Everything that transpired after their marketing decision to partner with individual who shall not be named. Well, all those losses are going to show up in numbers in those fiscal reports for all investors and the public to see, and I've been saying that's going to be the final nail in the damn coffin. Well, apparently I'm not the only one saying it, as now Fortune magazine is reporting Bud Light only has a few months to prevent sustained market share loss, warns former Anheuser sales executive. Bud Light needs to come up with a cogent strategy to win back customers in the next few months, a former executive warned, or its market share losses could become permanent. Come September, retailers are expected to begin reallocating the limited shelf space by relying on sales data from the preceding months. In Bud Light's case, that could mean a diminished presence going forward following the controversy over its brief partnership with a person who shall not be named, according to Anson Friedrichs, president of sales and distribution at Budweiser's U.S. parent company, Anheuser-Busch, until his departure in April of 2022. He told the Daily Mail that rivals like Coors Light and Yuengling could then remain a more prominent fixture in stores following this reset. Those brands will have a better likelihood to succeed long term because they have more shelf space, they have more inventory, they have more backstock, and they have more availability for consumers. This builds on what I've been saying. It's all about the numbers. It's all about the core business. This is why companies should probably do themselves a favor and stick to the damn business instead of this woke crap. Once those quarterly or yearly numbers are cemented, not only is the stock going to absolutely tank through the ground, meaning less investment and less capital, but then the company has to kind of accept that they've been downgraded by US consumers and that demand is simply not there anymore. Sales is not there. If Bud Light is selling, let's say, 10 million cans a month, it's a purely hypothetical number, but then all of a sudden they're selling 6.5 million and those losses are sustained, then for the next production cycle, they're not going to start producing 15 million cans a month or 10 or 12 or 13 projecting growth. They're going to reduce their production to meet demand. Otherwise, they're literally burning money. As they're burning right now, they're not going to make the situation worse. Clearly, that's not going to happen. Not to mention the other aspect, Bud Light works with major retailers. Major retailers are the ones buying products. You have buyers at these big brands who are the ones making the purchases. If they're seeing across, let's say, 50% of their stores, especially in more conservative areas, that Bud Light is simply not selling, well then they're not going to be inclined to stock their shelves with an abundance of Bud Light that's going to sit there freaking rotting and they're going to have to sell it on a 100% discount, giving it away for free. No, they're probably going to stock their shelves with more Yuengling and stuff that's actually selling. Bud Light's competitors are going to gain market share. Bud Light inevitably is going to continue to become more and more irrelevant and to collapse. This is the warning that is being sent. This is a serious warning shot. Essentially what consumers are saying is, I dare you to run a campaign focused on targeting my children with inappropriate activist propaganda. I dare you. That's what's being said. Do it. And the end result will be the utter collapse of your corporation, no matter how big and indestructible you think you are. You are not immune to American consumer shifts and habits. ESG, SMESG, you can shove it up your you-know-what. We don't care. We will simply exercise our consumer agency and leave you in the dust, and that's what's happening. It's happening to Target too. Here's the latest update. Target market cap slumps by $15 billion amid backlash over tuck-friendly trans swimsuits and pride clothes for kids, as analysts say that retail giant is hemorrhaging customers to Walmart. A message is being sent. Go woke, you get broke. Don't go woke and let your consumers self-destruct with this woke nonsense, and it's basically free marketing for you. It's free real estate. That's what's happening with Yuengling, Coors Light, Walmart. They're simply not going woke, going full-on patriotic, or, being relatively respectful and restrained in terms of their campaigns for particular groups and identities, which is acceptable. And by making that very simple, logical decision, their businesses are growing and they're taking market share away from these awful woke companies. You love to see it. It's like I always say, folks, in politics and in culture, I guess in business, Never play around with the mama bear with concerned parents. It will end real bad for you. BlackRock CEOs, these types of individuals, these globalist figures are quite powerful. Nobody is more powerful than the collective power of suburban mothers, and that's pretty based. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Of course, you know that we'd love to have you here. Other than that, that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.